This weekend, Illumination released the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which means time to rank all three Mario movies from worst to best. In last place is Mario Brothers from 1996. The first attempt ever at a movie video game adaptation is also one of the worst attempts ever made. Perhaps the worst attempt ever made. This isn't even one of those movies that's so bad it's good, it's just bad. The plot is absolute nonsense and has basically nothing to do with the games. It honestly feels like a giant slap in the face to anyone who's a fan of Mario. And even if you try to judge it as its own movie, completely separate from the source material, it's still a painful watch. This is one of the worst scripts I've ever seen. It's packed with baffling ideas, and the execution somehow makes them even worse. For some reason, the movie decides that Mario and Luigi's last name is Mario, so you get Mario Mario and Luigi Mario. But then it also says Luigi was adopted while still being Mario's brother, and at one point he says that Mario is his dad. Like, none of this makes any sense. And the characters are barely recognizable. Toad looks like this random human. Yoshi looks like something like Jurassic Park, and not in a good way. He's more creepy than he is cute. The movie completely takes away anything that makes the games fun. The tone, the whimsy, and replaces it with this weird, grimy, dystopian sci-fi world that doesn't feel at all like Mario. It genuinely makes you wonder if anyone involved with the production even played the games. This is a total game over. Now, there is a huge gap between that one and the next two. I gave both my second place and first place a solid 9 or 10. Our runner-up is Mario from 2023. This is a full-on crowd pleaser. It's the kind of movie that pretty much everyone can enjoy, even if they've never played a Mario game. The world is bright, vibrant, and just genuinely fun to spend time in. Everything from the environments to the characters is incredibly well animated and expressive, without going too over the top. It feels lively, but still controlled. Now, the movie does move pretty fast, but honestly, that makes sense when you consider the source material. The Mario games have always had very simple stories. Bowser kidnaps Peach, Mario goes to rescue her, repeat that for decades. There's not a ton of complex narrative to pull from, but that simplicity is also part of the charm. The movie embraces that instead of overcomplicating things. And when the trailer first dropped, people were really divided on Chris Pratt as Mario. Personally, I think he did a solid job. Every now and then you can hear his natural voice slip through, but it's never distracting enough that it ruins the experience. The voice acting overall is actually really strong, and the standout is Jack Black as Bowser. He completely steals the show. He brings so much personality to the character. What's impressive is how much he changes his voice. When he's speaking, it doesn't sound like Jack Black, it sounds like Bowser. The only time it really sounds like him is during the musical moments, but even those are fun. The only performance that didn't really fully work for me was Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. It wasn't bad, it's just that it sounds exactly like Seth Rogen being Seth Rogen, and that makes it a little harder to buy into the character. I do have a couple of issues, though, mainly the use of the pop songs. There are moments like the training sequence in the Mushroom Kingdom where Mario is learning how the world works, and visually it feels like you're watching a Mario platform come to life, and it's awesome. But instead of using the music from the games, the movie throws in modern pop songs, and it does not work. It pulls you out of the experience a bit, especially when the perfect music was already right there. That said, those issues are pretty minor in the grand scheme of things. Overall, the movie is exactly what it needs to be a fun, energetic, crowd pleasing adventure for all ages. And in first place is Mario Galaxy. This is exactly what a great sequel is supposed to be. Instead of just repeating the same formula as the first film, it expands everything the story, the characters, the world in a way that feels bigger, bolder, and more imaginative. And like I said with the Mario Brothers movie, one of my biggest issues was these pop songs. They felt out of place, they pulled me out of the film. That issue is fixed here. This Mario Galaxy movie leans fully into its musical score, and it makes a huge difference. The orchestral space-inspired soundtrack gives the movie a sense of scale and wonder that perfectly matches the galaxy-trotting adventure. It feels cinematic in a way the first movie didn't quite reach. And speaking of that adventure, this movie goes all in. It's a full-on galaxy-trotting journey packed with creativity. Fans of the Super Mario Galaxy games are going to have a blast spotting familiar planets. And even beyond that, the film introduces new worlds that feel just as imaginative and fitting within the Mario universe. It is a smorgasbord of Nintendo Easter eggs. You can tell the filmmakers really love this franchise. At times, the movie dips into full-on space opera territory. There's a sequence on a casino planet that feels heavily inspired by Star Wars The Last Jedi. It's very reminiscent of the planet Canto Bight, with a larger-than-life villain who gives off serious Jabba the Hutt vibes. It's a surprising influence, but it works, adding a fun layer of genre bonding to the film. What elevates the movie, though, is its heart. At its core, it is a positive pro-family story. It emphasizes connection, loyalty, and growth in a way that feels genuine and uplifting without being preachy. That emotional grounding keeps the film from just being spectacle. It gives it meaning. The comedy is another standout. The jokes themselves are solid, but what really sells them is the animation. The characters are so expressive that even a simple reaction can make a moment hilarious. There are times when the humor doesn't necessarily come from the punchline itself, like the punchline on its own would be kind of weak, a mild chuckle at best, but it's how the characters respond. It's their face reactions. That's where the animation truly shines. Their face reactions elevate the joke from being just kind of mildly funny to actually a lot more funny. And honestly, I have no idea why the movie is rated PG. This is a G-rated film through and through. There's no profanity, there's no innuendo, there's nothing off color, there's nothing questionable, just pure family-friendly entertainment. At the end of the day, the Super Mario Galaxy movie builds on everything that works in the first movie and fixes what didn't. It's bigger, more emotional, more visually creative, and more confident in its identity. This is what a sequel should be, and it comes in at number 1. You can share your ranking of the 3 Mario movies, and I will see you next time.